Yeah.
What's an inverter?
It changes solar power to house power.
All right, everybody, welcome out to Holiday, Utah. Today we're going to take you on a tour of this project. So to give you a brief overview, we did 22 kilowatts of solar, 72 kilowatt hours of battery, coupled with 2 inverters that are going to power essentially 2 separate zones of the home that we broke up. And this one is a really complicated one, so we kind of want to go over the intricacies of this one because not every system is nearly this complicated. And so we just kind of want to show you what goes into building these types of systems. So come with me and we'll give you a tour. Could have picked a better day. So this is where the service comes in, because this is a grid tied home. And as you can see, it's kind of hard to see, but there's a lot going on this house. There's a lot of sub panels and gear, and this is where the meter base is. So we had to intercept power here, so we had to put our gear, some of our gear out here to intercept the power that we need. But there's also 9 sub panels inside, and so they want as much power to all these panels as possible, which is pretty complicated to do because you have to intercept each panel. And so we had to get really creative with how we did things, and we'll walk you through all the sub panels and which ones are backed up and which ones aren't, because this system doesn't back up the whole house. It only backs up roughly 30% of the home, and the solar only offsets roughly 40 to 60% of all the power that this home uses. Again, this is kind of an outlier situation, but they have a lot of pumps and stuff like that in the home that they want to backed up, was the main reason why they wanted to get this system. And so we were able to accomplish that. All right, follow me and I'll show you all the electrical panels. Okay, the biggest complication with this system again is where we're going to intercept power, and then all of the circuits that we need backed up. So we went through each circuit and determined which ones the homeowner wanted backed up and which ones they were okay with living without. So what we've had to do is we've had to move circuits out of each of these panels into the panels that are going to be backed up. So this panel will always have power. This panel, if the grid fails, will not have power. And this panel will always have power as long as the inverter can support the demand of the panel. If this panel is drawing too much electricity and the system cannot support it, this little external contactor will shut this entire panel off so that we don't overload the system and the whole thing shuts down. So again, just to recap, when the grid's up, you have full capabilities of the home. It's going to work just like normal, but when the grid fails, that battery system will instantly take over and you'll power all of your electrical from the sun or the batteries, depending on if it's snowy or if it's nighttime, stuff like that. So this is inside the pool house, and she has some pumps here that pumps water out of her basement and stuff like that so that her basement doesn't flood. So these panels had to be backed up, and then there's also another one of those SSMs like we saw in the pantry, that if for any reason the pool house is drawing more power than the system can support, it's going to shut that entire panel off, because again, we want to power all the pumps is priority number one, and then all of the fridges and furnaces and stuff like that to keep the home running, and a handful of lights. So that way, you know, we always want to balance the system properly and make sure that it's going to work, because there's nothing worse than you invest in all this money into getting a system and then it doesn't do half of what you want it to. That's why it's really, really crucial to get all this information and make sure that we can do our job correctly. All right, follow me and we'll now show you the battery system, and then we'll get up on the roof. On this system, we have essentially two separate systems working together. So half of the solar system goes to this inverter and these two battery cabinets, which support half of the house. And then that inverter and that transfer switch, and then these two battery cabinets support the other half of the house. So we've also split up the solar system appropriately to where it's always going to get adequate sunlight for each inverter to charge the batteries so that they can always use this power. So again, two different inverters, 22 kilowatts of solar and 72 kilowatt hours worth of storage, breaking up on many sub panels. So this is a really fun project.
Hey!
All right, so there's three different mounting planes. This is the south wing, middle, and north wing of the array. And so we've broken up the panels to where this system goes to, say, inverter number 2. Half of the upper one goes to inverter number 2. The other half goes to inverter number 1. The other whole part of the north roof goes to inverter number 1 as well. Another common question we get, at least in our territory, is does solar work in the winter? Like, the short answer is yes, it does work in the winter. Obviously, days like today, this might get a tiny bit of production, but not really any. But if the sun was out and the snow's still on the roof, it is still going to produce a little bit of power. Obviously not optimal, but the snow will shed off the panels fairly quickly and then let the sun do its job. And we take into account, you know, how many rainy days, how many cloudy days, how much snow is going to sit on your roof with obviously the elevation and the pitch of the roof. Since this is a flat roof, snow is going to sit on this roof longer than it would, say, the neighbor's house over here that's 12-12 pitch. But obviously I wouldn't be standing on it right now if it was a 12-12 pitch. All right, now we're gonna go up to the north wing and then the middle array, and we'll show you both of those. It's pretty much the same as this, but bigger. These are slippery stairs. Oh, watch out for that rope. All right, so this is the north side of the total array. So you got all the infrastructure here. Another common question we get is another common question that we get with batteries all the time is, can it power like something like an air conditioner? And the simple answer on this system is yes, it has the capabilities of powering it, but we recommend that you don't do that, because you're gonna hit the max capacity of the inverter, plus you're gonna deplete your batteries very quickly if it's nighttime. So it's not really meant for that. If you want something like that, there are some other options, like maybe a generator or something along those lines, but it's just really not recommended. All right, you can see why it takes us so long to get anything done with our guys just laying down on the job like this. And then you can't really see the panels because they're covered in snow, but there's 6 rows of panels up here, just collecting all the sunlight we can. Obviously not on a day like today, but other than that, it works fantastically.